Hi, welcome to Denver Sports TV. I'm your host, Michelle Bundy, along with co-host Greg Rashid.
The real sports authority, as you all know out there.
After last week, I'm going to agree with you for half a minute. You guessed the Shannon Sharpe 2 touchdown.
That's true.
I mean, who would have thought?
Well,
no touchdowns all year, and then not 1, but 2?
Well, you know what you got to, I was wrong on the other part, the Broncos.
Well, we all knew that was going to happen.
We don't know. Okay. I'll eat crow again in alphabet soup and everything, but I was wrong with that. But the Broncos did win that game, and it was probably a very exciting game considering what happened the previous week.
It was, if not one of the most that I've seen. And I know I said that about last week's, but then this one was even more so because I think that last week we probably should have won that game. I was sitting right next to some of the Kansas City beat reporters.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how I got that seat, but I did. And Shanahan called a running play, and we had like 12 minutes in the fourth quarter. We were down by 14 points. And the Kansas City reporter was like, what is he doing? Why is he calling this play? What is he thinking? He should be stressed by now. He should be in a hurry-up offense. He should be concerned. And Shanahan's just like, do. And the guy was just criticizing up and down. Unfortunately, I wasn't still sitting there by the end of the game, or else I would have loved to rub that in. But we went down and went to the field. But when we were in the elevator, that's when they missed the field goal. So I didn't see that.
Right. And the thing,
25 in a row.
That's right. 25 in a row. Morton Anderson. But the thing is, too, that I don't know why this reporter, I wasn't there. I was sitting at home looking at other games. No, I was looking at this one. But
yeah, I was going to say, hold up.
Yeah, but the thing is, I don't know why that reporter, anyone wasn't criticizing Dick Vermeil, the head coach of Kansas City, and also Greg Robinson, the defensive coordinator who used to be here with the Broncos. As far as their strategy with their safeties the whole game, they gave Shannon Sharpe
he was open. He was open
the whole time. He was beyond open. I mean, he was like, he could do anything he wanted.
Well, right, and that's one of the biggest reasons that he did have such a successful game last Sunday was because they just left him wide open. I don't know if it was just a lack of respect on his part because they figured he hadn't been very productive all year.
I have no idea. And they were playing what Denver plays, a cover 2, but when you play a cover 2, you got to make sure that your safeties are covering people.
Yeah.
And they cover the tight end and the running backs coming out of the backfield. And I don't know what their safeties were doing Sunday.
Right. Well, like I said, maybe it was just a lack of respect. They didn't think that he would be able to pull that out like he did. And so they were like, well, we have other people to worry about. Let's cover the big guys, and we'll kind of give him the room. And maybe he'll get a couple of catches, but other than that, we don't have to worry about him.
And that's why Kansas City is ranked at the bottom of the league in defense.
In defense.
32nd.
But I hate to admit this, but if they're at the bottom, we really shouldn't have had such a tough time out in KC. Granted, it is KC, and we hadn't won there since '98. As good as Gracie looked, some of the other guys had a little trouble.
Yes, let's talk about that.
Why don't we go to that? Let's see what some of the trouble was and maybe what we can do next week to avoid that.
Like I said, kickoff coverage and punt coverage is the biggest concern right now. It's really not a concern. You just got to get guys to have a better feel of the returns and the returners that we're facing and have more of a sense of urgency of getting to the returner.
Do you sense the guys are more intense now that they know they haven't been holding up their end of the bargain?
Yeah, I would think so. I think the coaches got their point across today, starting with the special teams meeting, watching that film, and then when Mike came in, basically solidifying the bottom line. Like I said, the offense is doing what they have to do, defense is doing what they have to do, and right now special teams is not holding up the end of the bargain. And like I say, I take the brunt of the most of it, which is rightfully so, but at the same time, it's up to me to get the guys. We'll find a way. Like I say, we only like a play away. Hopefully Delta will be able to get some opportunities to be able to, give our offense, good field position. And then, hopefully we get a good breakout with Kevin here, here pretty soon and then go from there. And I think everything will start to fall into place.
Mike raised his voice at all?
No, he's never going to raise his voice. He's not the yell type. You know what I'm saying? He can give you that look or, he can give you that smirk. Either way, when his presence is felt. How far to stay away from him or when to get close to him. So it's one of those weeks where, like I said, you want to kind of keep your distance, but at the same time, you know what you got to do. And like I say, the best way for us to get out of this funk that we're in is to go back out on the field, and that's, to wait until Sunday.
You know, the other big story last week was Kenoy Kennedy's absence.
That's right. You know, and like they say, absence makes the heart grow fonder.
How about stronger,
That's
maybe?
right, stronger.
It's going to be the absence makes the heart grow stronger. And, you know, we talked to Kenoy today and yesterday, a couple days ago, about the suspension and what it felt like for him to not be at the game, instead be watching it. And more importantly, I asked him about what he thought, what his feelings were when he saw what Shanahan did, how he went to bat for him. That doesn't happen. I've never seen that, like we said last week on the show, in the history of the NFL.
I've never seen it. It's amazing. It's incredible. But
Let's
show
go
them.
down to Kenoy and see what he has to say.
It's tough, man. You know, they had me nervous, man. You know, sitting there watching the game. You know, I think I've been that nervous when I'm playing myself. You know, so but it was weird though. You know, it's kind of like I was outside myself. You know, like the player part of Kenoy was at the game, you know, but you know, when it came down to it, you know, I was outside myself watching it. You know.
Catch yourself screaming and yelling at the TV at all?
No, you know, I just sit there quiet. You know, me and the wife was watching it. You know, I was just sitting there quiet. You know, just really didn't know how to take it. You know, but you know, made it through. You know, and then after the game, you know, just was calling the guys, make sure everybody was okay and everything.
Kenoy, with all you've been through, is it going to be possible for you to play without worrying about where you hit a guy and how you hit a guy?
Oh, you know, when it comes down to it, you know, I'm playing the same way I've been playing. You know, not going to change the way I play. You know, I've been playing physical ever since I started playing football. You know, and I'm not going to change. I think if I change my game, you know, I won't be here long. You know, I think Mike Shanahan might get rid of me. You know, so I'm keep playing the way I play.
But do you buy that you can't lead with your helmet? And you got to maybe put a shoulder in there, you got to wrap a guy and that kind of stuff?
Well, you know, I guess I just had to concentrate on going a little lower. You know, start hitting guys in the pelvic area. You know, start hitting them in the knees or something. You know, but just try to, you know, concentrate on going a little lower. But you know, as far as being physical, you know, I'm gonna continue to be that way.
What did you think about Shanahan's coming to your defense and the display he did with the media that showed the tape and trying to just show everybody what you had actually done?
You know, Shanahan, you know, I appreciate what he done for me. You know, he stepped up and, you know, defended me to the last point, you know, until he couldn't do it anymore. You know, and, you know, I don't know too many coaches there to go to bat for players on the team like the way he did, you know, and brought it to the media and, you know, showed it over and over from his point of view and my point of view, you know, and I mean, I had to commend him on that.
Definitely glad to have Kenoy back. Although Sam did a great job, he had that block, as you heard Kenoy talking about, against Priest Holmes on third down that pretty much might have saved the game.
I think it did. And he had some difficulties at the beginning of the game. I got to admit that.
Well, that was probably jitters. I mean, put yourself in in his shoes at that point. Your first NFL game, you've been dreaming this your whole life. That's almost expected. First start.
Yeah.
It's all on his shoulders. He doesn't have any. He's not backing somebody up. It's his job to cover, you know, Priest, to cover Gonzalez, who was actually pretty quiet. I was surprised.
You know, I really was surprised that Gonzalez really just, I guess he saw his the real master as far as tight ends, and he just like laid back.
Yeah, I get. You know what? It's funny. He must have heard Shannon say how he was Gonzalez before Gonzalez was,
Right.
and so he just sat back and let Gonzalez beat or Sharp beat Gonzalez. And it was
Right.
funny. I had to laugh when we saw that 82-yarder that Sharp was running.
Oh, yeah.
My comment was, I guess he still is Gonzalez, Speedy Gonzalez.
Oh, how long did it take you to think of that one? I'll write that one
I
down.
did. That's what I said in the press box because
Okay.
I had to
Speedy
laugh
Gonzalez.
because I remembered what he was saying there. You know, it was one of Sharp's best buddies who saved the game, Keith Burns.
Excellent block. And the funny thing is that up until that time, except for Keith Burns in the game, special teams was atrocious.
Atrocious is a good word for what happened, not only in their blocking, but also in the kicking.
Right, and it's funny because Mike Shanahan during the week had this dichotomy about the fact that he's great. You know, he loved the fact that Jason Elam won the game field goal. He can kick field goals greatly, but his kickoffs, they're not hitting the mark.
Right.
And the guys are running up the field on them.
Well, and you know, they're discussing kickers. Right now, as we are taping, I left the locker room and people were waiting for all the coaches to come out of a room. They're discussing what they're going to do at the kicking position. So it's a hot topic right about now.
And I really think that Jason is still, you know, he had a hamstring pull. I think he's still hurt. I think he's slightly hurt, and He can kick those field goals, but it's a different motion when you're kicking off.
You know, it's not like when you're kicking off into a field goal and you have a specific area that you're looking for, and you're kicking a lot farther when you're kicking off after that
It's
touchdown.
hard.
So it's a total different game. You would think kicking's kicking, but it's not the
No, it's
not
a
the
whole
case.
different thing.
Yeah.
And it's they may bring. Remember the kid that we saw in preseason, Ola? I forget his last name.
Ola Kurmer,
Yeah.
Kirm, I think it
Right.
was.
Kicked the 65-yarder
65-yarder.
in preseason. Maybe they'll bring him back.
Yep.
He hasn't signed with anyone.
Yep. Well, props going out to Keith Burns for saving the game, and also Mike Anderson, who we just spoke to, got that touchdown. If it wasn't for that touchdown, we wouldn't even had a chance to block that kick. So there was a bunch of guys that stepped
yeah.
up and were heroes in Sunday's game.
Especially in Kansas City. I mean,
In Kansas City, that was great. A great way to leave there for once without being heartbroken
yeah, or something like that.
or something like that. We're going to now get into our segment, The Other Broncos. And this week we decided to talk to Jarius Jackson.
Well, it's kind, some of you are probably thinking, well, he's been there for 3 years. But the fact is, I get a lot of people who ask me about Jarius all the time.
All the time. You would be
All the
surprised walking down the street. People ask me, when's Jarius going in? When's he going to get his shot? He should be in. They should be giving him this. And
Hey.
you know what? There's a lot of people that agree. A lot of
That's right.
people, it's a consensus. So let's go down and meet Jarius. Michelle Bundy's sitting here with Jarius Jackson, and Jarius is going to do our segment, The Other Broncos. And Jarius right now is the third-string quarterback, and let's just find out a little bit of his thoughts and what he thinks about that, and maybe what he's doing to maybe move up the depth chart there.
What am I doing to move the depth chart? Well, personally, I mean, I'm not really doing anything that I think of. I mean, I'm just going out and practicing every day and, trying to make the most of, the scout team reps that I'm getting right now. Pretty much that's all my job requires right now. And, just helping out in other areas of the field as far as like special teams and, doing things of that nature to give the defense and scout teams a look.
Tell everybody a little bit about you. Where are you from?
I'm from Tupelo, Mississippi, originally, born and raised. Lived there
Where did you go to
Tupelo High School in Tupelo, Mississippi.
I'm trying to get to your college. Where did you go to college?
And I went to the University of Notre Dame in South Bend, Indiana, which is doing pretty well right now. So
They're doing pretty well?
exactly.
How are they doing?
Number 3 in the country, and then we're going to kick Florida State's butt this week. So.
Oh, you are? You think
yeah.
you're going to go into FSU at
Oh, yeah.
home and
We're
do
going,
a good job?
We're going to Tallahassee, and we're going to win. We're going to pull it off. Even though we're 11-point underdogs right now, we're still going to pull it off.
Who were some of your maybe idols when you were growing up? Who did you look up to as a player and say, maybe I want to model myself after this person?
Definitely Steve McNair. I mean, he went to Alcorn, where my whole family went to, besides myself, going to Notre Dame. And, every weekend I would go down to Lawrence, Mississippi, and watch him play. And, I mean, he was just the caliber quarterback that I wanted to be as far as just running, basically having another running back in the backfield, but at the same time has an arm and is good enough to throw the football.
Right, and you don't see that very often, and that's one thing that I think a lot of people, myself included, really respect as a quarterback, somebody who can get out of that pocket and run and turn into a running back once they are fleshed out.
I think that's more and more what this game is starting to convert to is that style quarterback. So hopefully I can hang around here a little longer and then have some years under my belt like Steve Berline, going on 16 years.
Right, well, we hope so too. This was Jarius Jackson. Everybody, good luck with your career.
Thank you.
Jarius's team, alma mater, Notre Dame.
Yeah, Notre Dame for some of you folks out there. Well,
It sounds so much better, Notre Dame.
it's,
But as a football team, I guess they don't want to be called that. Notre Dame, 7-0.
that's right. They beat Air Force, and I predicted Air Force was going to win last week. But they beat Air Force up here.
Right.
They did it.
They took care of business, that's for sure.
And some people are calling the head coach there, Tyrone Whittingham, the Black Moses now, because he's leading this team. Some of you who know Notre Dame, they know they have been in a bad slump for a number of years. And he's leading them to the promised land, which is the BCS. They'll get into one of these bowls somehow. But they're looking good, but they got a tough task this week against Florida State University.
Yep.
And Florida State is actually favored, but I believe, and I think you believe this too, that Notre Dame is going to pull it out on the road.
I do, but I was giving Jarius a hard time. I told him that I think FSU was going to win. But that was all in fun. I really am rooting for Notre Dame.
Oh, everyone is. Everyone all over the country. They want to see this team, you know, they want to see this team win, as well as you Bronco fans who want to see your team win.
Yes.
It sucks to this week.
Speaking of road games,
Right.
we are going in to face the reigning Super Bowl champions, New England Patriots.
And I put a parentheses around it, the New England Patriots, because I still believe that Oakland should have been in there.
Well, you know, shoulda, woulda, coulda.
I know, and some, you know, and I have to say this, and it's a very biased thing I have to say. I just don't like, I don't like teams from New England. I will reveal one day why. Those of you who know me know that I don't like New England teams. But
Well, that's all
despite
good. We all have our arch enemies,
that- That's right.
and I guess yours are from New England.
That's right. They are. I can't say it, but despite that, the Broncos go up there. They're 5-2 going up against the 3-3 New England Patriots, who are in a slump. They've lost 3 in a row. Their quarterback, Tom Brady, has thrown, if I'm not mistaken, 7 interceptions in the
yep.
last 3 games.
Yep, he sure has. But you know what? A lot of the guys were asking, which team do you think you're going to face, the 3-0 or the 0-3? And I believe they've got a lot on the line, and this game is really important to them because either way, they either go above 5 or go below. And I think they're going to come full force, being in their own backyard. And they do have the weapons. It's just, you know, they just need to regroup. So it's going to be a tough game.
In fact, Keith Washington talks about that. We asked
Yep.
him some questions about that.
Let's go down to Keith and listen what he has to say about that.
It's Greg Rasheed with Take It to the House, talking to Keith Washington. What's your assessment about this week's offense against New England?
I mean, they have a pretty good team. They're the defending Super Bowl champions, so you can never count them out of anything. I know they've been in a bit of a slump the past couple weeks or so, but you know, each week is a new week, and you know, you come to the table with new schemes and new ideas, and that's what we have to be prepared for. They've been off, so they've had quite some time to prepare for us, and we have to make sure we tighten up on the things we're trying to get done, and go out and play Denver Bronco football.
You see any differences in Tom Brady from early in the season? He's been in a little slump. Is it the same Brady that you saw when he came here last year?
Well, I think last year when he first began to start, it was basically a can't lose situation. I mean, you know, come out, sling it, make plays, and you know, didn't really have to think too much. I think they weren't really winning at the time when he started, and he did a wonderful job to win the Super Bowl, and start out this year, you know, he has to think more now. I mean, he's a Super Bowl quarterback, and people are expecting the team to be better. They're expecting them to win, and I don't think he has the free will spirit that he could show last year. So I mean, but with that being said, at the same time, he's still a very good quarterback and very capable of beating anybody. And you know, they have a pretty good team. Like I said, they've been in a slump the past couple weeks, but we expect a good ball game.
Thanks a lot, Keith.
You know, there are a couple connections going into this New England team. Brian Griese, teammates at Michigan with Tom Brady. They had a national championship,
That's right.
big school, and another teammate is Ian Gold.
He has some comments about
He has some comments. He's on the defense, so I'm sure it was his job to go against them. And let's take it down to Ian and see what he has to say.
No, we couldn't hit the quarterback at Michigan. No, Coach Carr wouldn't allow that kind of stuff. No. Well, I mean, he's still a young quarterback, you know, so he's got some growing pains, and that's all this is for him right now. But I know Brady. I mean, he's a tough guy, tough character, and, you know, he's going to bounce back, and hopefully he won't bounce back against us.
So it looks to be quite a competition this weekend. They were both coached by the same guys.
That's right.
And probably know a lot of the same secrets and have some of the same styles. So it's definitely one to watch. What do you think the outcome's going to be?
Oh, what do I think? Even though I don't care.
I ask like I don't know.
Yeah, real, right. Even though New England's in a 3-game slump, even though Tom Brady's in a slump, he's been throwing interceptions.
Right.
They've been having a hard time with teams in the red zone, the 20-yard line.
Sounds familiar.
I know, but they're allowing a lot of touchdowns now in the last 3 games. Even though that's going on with New England, I still believe because of the bye week they had, because they're defending Super Bowl champions, They're going to rise up and win this game this Sunday, 27-26 against the Denver Broncos.
27-26.
That's right.
You know, I think we're going to have a tough time, once again, just like last week. And I still think that the Broncos are going to come away with this one. And the reason why is because I'm hoping they do. That'll put me right on track going into the bye week. 6-2, you know, double that. And we've got 12-4, which is what I predicted. So they're right on track. Hopefully they'll stick up and come away with the win. I don't think that it's going to be above 30. Last week, as you know, we got our first game above 30.
Right.
And so I'm going to say it's in the mid-20s. I'm going to say it's going to be close, 24-21 Broncos.
24-21 Broncos. Okay. We shall see, but you know the real sports authority eventually at the end.
Yeah. We'll see. Anyway, let's move on to the Nuggets. Big week. Started the preseason here at home, and a little, I don't know if the word's controversy, but a little interesting side note, got Michael Jordan to play.
That's right.
By offering the Wizards $200,000.
Yeah.
I've never heard of that before. That was interesting.
Yeah, that was very interesting. You don't want to call it, well, the
You don't
mob
wanna
has
call it
money for
bribe.
it. Yeah, bribing. I didn't want to say that, but you know, we had the opportunity to be in the locker room after the game and hear some of the comments from Michael Jordan.
Well, and you know what? The funny thing is some people asked him, why did you play again here? No, you weren't expected to play. Why did you play? And he didn't come up with, I think, the true answer. But you know, we'll find out.
He was a diplomat.
It was interesting. Yes, he was very politically correct about it, and because he wasn't also expected to be in playing last time he came to Denver. So something's going on here with getting him to play in Denver. Let's take it down to the locker room and listen to Michael Jordan. Also, let's listen to how he thinks Posey played him. That was the interesting part. So let's go to Michael.
Last year in Denver, the similar situation. They didn't think you would play, and you did. Anything special coming in here?
No, it's just great timing. You know, unfortunately, I couldn't predict that I would. You know, and you know, circumstances worked out the way I played, and you know, it's really unfortunate that, you know, a lot of people didn't get a chance to go to the game because they didn't know, and obviously I didn't know until yesterday, and you know, and when Doug came to me and said, well, let's think about, you know, how we want to do this, and I felt good enough to do it.
Michael's at the smallest crowd in an NBA arena you've ever played before, maybe?
No, I mean, you know, obviously you want to enjoy the fans and support, you know, but you know, once I'm playing, I'm not worried about who's in the stands. Yeah, I mean, I could tell that James Posey was ready for me. You know, I mean, you know, I wouldn't expect anything different than for him to attack me, especially in my first game. You know, and you know, it's easy for me to try to come right back at him and take everybody out of the floor. What's happening? You know, this team's been playing well without me, so I'm just trying to fit to their mold. And you know, Jerry got some great shots, and other players are gonna get some good shots. I know I'm attracting a lot of attention, you know, and until those guys step forward and become threats, you know, once they become a threat, then that's going to take some of the, you know, focus off of me to some degree, and then I learn how to attack. I will attack in those circumstances, but I don't fault the way that he came out to play, man. I mean, that's what I need. I mean, that's going to get me ready, and I would have done the same thing, I imagine.
It was funny, Michael Jordan, when they did ask him about Posey, he was, once again, politically correct, saying that he would have done the same thing. He came out and played him hard. But did you hear him as he walked away? He kind of strutted his stuff. It was the last question. He goes, but I do have a long memory.
That's right.
After the cameras were off, he was just like, yeah, I'm not going to forget this one. It was interesting. I thought it was kind of funny.
Oh, I did too. And I have to say one thing, because a lot of people have been talking to me about the Nuggets, and they've been really downing the Nuggets. I'm going to speak French when it comes to the Nuggets.
You're going to say we?
I'm going to be their #1 supporter.
Well, they need one, not just their number one.
Well, I'll be that one. I'll be that one, and you fans out there, go out there and support those Nuggets. You should have been out there to see Michael the other night. He comes back here only once, and that's it.
Yes, he'll be back.
You should have been out there. Support this team.
And this might, I mean, he's 39. This might be his last year. You never know. It might be the last chance to see him. But it's not all about Michael. But it was a little, almost, what's the word I'm looking for? It was very interesting the way the crowd reacted when he came on the court that first time. When he came off the bench and on the court, it was overwhelming and it was surprising. It was like, oh my goodness.
And it's also embarrassing in a sense for the Nugget players.
Right.
Because you want the fans to cheer for you like that.
Well, that's not going to happen with Michael Jordan there.
Well, that's true, but
he's almost, they reacted like he's the Dalai Lama or something.
I know.
To a certain extent. So he's going to be a cult figure for a while, and when you have somebody like that, it doesn't matter what team you are.
That's right.
They're not going to be cheering for you. They're going to be cheering for Michael, and that's just the way it goes.
But support the Nuggets.
Yes, do. On to the Avs. What
Yeah,
about
the Avs.
this week?
Oh, they played a great game, and I love hockey now. The Avs, once again, they tied this week with the Edmonton Oilers. It was an exciting game, went into overtime, tied 3-3. They play the Minnesota Wild this Sunday. Minnesota is one of the worst teams in the league, but I believe that the Avs will pull that out. And a lot of you out there complaining about the Avs, but they're going to win the Stanley Cup. Mark that.
I know, you've said that before, and we'll have a Super Bowl and a Stanley Cup.
We'll have a Stanley Cup.
You know, this week we had a party, Shannon Sharp's Halloween
that's right.
party, just annual charity to benefit teenagers that might be in a little bit of trouble. And why don't we go down and just see a little bit of that footage before we leave? It's a good time had by all, and you know, it's always good to have these charities. That's one thing that you can appreciate about
Right.
athletes when they go in and they try to support the community and help raise money for them. So we want to give a shout out to him here and check out some of the footage from the party.
We've already discerned what Annabelle is, but we're still trying to decide who you are.
I'm Retro, I'm a 70s brother. I've always wanted to have hair this long, so the only way I could get it was to get a wig. I don't think my hair could ever grow this long if I let it go for 10 years. So I wanted to be a 70s guy.
So that was the bet. How did the bet go together?
Well, me and him always have little friendly wagers, and I was like, okay, since we're gonna have a costume party, if I'm better than yours, let me. See? Oh, you see Captain Hook? Captain, that's very good. Schefter, you have to let me win.
I don't know.
I was born in the 80s, Mr. Bowler.
The bet is that I'm going to be in a better costume than him. And that, I've already won that bet, but I can't tell you what it's for.
Well, actually, I had these custom made, so I might be wearing them again. So if you see them on me again without the hair, it's me.
All right, catch Sharp next week against the New England Patriots. See if he can duplicate his effort from last Sunday against the Chiefs. And just,
I don't think so.
Well, you know, the thing is, if the Broncos lose the toss,
I know.
like I've always said, my theory, if they lose the toss and the defense goes in the field first and gives that offense the chance coming out in the second half, we're going to win. So far, what are we?
4-0 when they lose the toss. They have an official rating for that now, and I couldn't believe
They
that.
do?
But yes, they
When
keep
did this-
that.
Really?
They keep
I didn't
that
know
stat.
that.
I couldn't believe that, but if the Broncos lose that toss, that's great for you Bronco fans.
It is, and hey, like I said before, Kanoy and I get our way, and that defense goes on first, and the Broncos will come away with that victory.
We shall see.
All right, we're about out of time this week for Take It to the House. I'm your host, Michelle Bundy, along with co-host Greg Rashid, and we will see you next time.
Support high school sports.